Padma, Nivala, Ravartaya.
Please stand and join me in chanting of the three refuges. We will take refuge in Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, first in Sino-Korean, in keeping with our tradition, and then in English. So if you do not know the Sino-Korean, please consider it sound practice and throw your voice in as best you can.
When
I go for refuge to the Buddha.
I go for refuge to the Buddha.
My deeply awakened mind,
My deeply awakened mind,
which must be cultivated to be known fully.
which must be cultivated to be known fully.
I go for refuge to the Dharma.
I go for refuge to the Dharma.
Truth manifesting everywhere,
Truth manifesting everywhere,
which must be cultivated to be known fully.
which must be cultivated to be known fully.
I go for refuge to the Sangha.
I go for refuge to the Sangha.
Deep friendships and interconnections of all beings,
Deep friendships and interconnections of all beings,
which must be cultivated to be known fully.
which must be cultivated to be known fully.
Please return to your places. Oh, not yet, sorry. On this 28th day of September 2025, we acknowledge that this land where our temple buildings stand has been the home of Native peoples, the Potawatomi, the Odawa, and the Ojibwe, the Council of the Three Fire Tribes, and also of Black Americans. We know that this neighborhood used to be a historically Black neighborhood during times of racial segregation and oppression. For our own awakening and for the awakening of all life, may the benevolent energies of our meditation, chanting, and full presence here at the service this morning extend to all beings on this planet and throughout time and space. May there be a deepening of our inner being. May peace prevail and wars cease. And let's sit in meditation together a briefer time. some stretching as an end to our meditation practice. Please sit comfortably. It's nice to see all of you this morning. For those I've not met yet, my name is Ma'um, and I'm one of the residential priests at the temple. I live in the historic temple next door. So our Dharma topic today is joy. Yes, joy, yay. It's kind of nice to have a topic like this. So we'll be talking about the experience of joy and about its role in our Buddhist practice and some ways to cultivate this quality. To begin, though, I just want to jump right in and let's take a moment to access joy. This is a natural capacity within all of us. And so let's just take a moment to touch into it. So close your eyes. Take a nice deep breath. Bring to mind something in your life that arouses the experience of joy. So, for example, a beautiful sunset, the taste of an orange, a child laughing and running, whatever comes to mind for you. So just take a moment. And then note to yourself some of the qualities of joy. And then turn your attention to the breath. Breathing in. Breathing out. Breathing in. Breathing out. And notice the quality of spaciousness that arises as we do this breathing. It could be on the exhale for you, or the space between the breaths. Just notice that quality. And then connect this spaciousness to everything, everyone around you, and experience this interconnection. As perhaps another aspect of joy. So then just bring yourself back to the present moment. Slowly open your eyes. And then smile at somebody you see. All right. So I would ask now if we could get our microphone ready, please. What were some of the qualities that you noticed in this experience that we just had? Either bringing these images to mind or connecting with the breath and the body. What are some of the qualities of joy is kind of what I'm after. Mm-hmm.
For me, one of the greatest sources of joy is sharing it with others. I work with kids, so the memory that came to mind was a really good memory with some of my students. And yeah, just sharing joy and imparting joy and being able to be the bringer of joy.
Mm-hmm.
In the meditation, the first meditation, I was trying to focus. I was trying to get rid of things on the outside. And then I suddenly smiled. And everything got so much better when I smiled. And I remember going to the farmer's market and other places and how much it pleased me and pleased other people if I were to smile. They're all ready to smile too, but they just didn't until they got a hint from someone else.
I was thinking of my son when he was a toddler, and I haven't seen him in a very long time, and he just walked in. So, like, that was an overwhelming sense of joy that I can't describe with words very well, but yeah, it's a happiness that goes through every fiber of my being, and in addition to thinking of my son, and I was thinking of my dog, and one of the things I love about our morning walks is the way that the sun starts to like shine, and I can see her little ears just flopping in the shadow, like in front of us. But yeah, it's like a lightness, and I think something you said was expansion, and then this like deep well of just seeing another. Yeah. Hey, Jameson.
When you talked about seeing another, I was thinking of, I like to, when I watch my wife dance, it creates joy for me. So that's all I wanted to say.
Some of the things that bring me the most joy are bugs and birds and trees, and they're all going to be there no matter what, no matter how I'm doing or how I'm feeling or things that I've, like mistakes that I've made. If I just go outside, I can see little fuzzy caterpillars crawling around. So joy is always an option.
Two of the greatest joys in my life. First one is my wife. When I wake up every morning, she's present. And she said, "Young child, I love you." That's a good start. So. And the other joy is my two small grandchildren. They come over. It's a great joy to see them. But it's a greater joy when they leave.
I noticed expansion in my chest and lightness, and that nothing else could be there but that feeling when I was connected to it. It was the only thing.
Okay, yep, one or a couple more. Yeah.
Hi everyone, nice to meet you. This is my first time here. Thank you. Yeah, so when I first thought of joy, I thought of family. So my husband and I actually expecting a child, so it was really happy just thinking about that future. I don't know what it's gonna be, but it really brought me tears thinking about that. So yeah.
I think.
Hello, everybody. It's my first time here also. When I thought of joy, I thought of like my dogs. First thing I came in my mind. But I guess in terms of dogs, like in terms of choosing joy, I've never seen a dog like not happy. You know, they're always happy to see you, happy to eat, happy to literally do anything. So it's kind of cool.
So I'm curious, does anyone, well, two kinds of questions. The first question is, how often does joy come up for you in your life? And does anybody, sort of have the experience of thinking it's not very accessible to them? Mm-hmm. So, yeah, if you would say a little more about that. You're going to get a workout today, Simone, sorry. Over here.
I find it all the time, and largely it's just being open to it. It's cultivating a mindset where I want to access it. I mean, for me, I can find beauty in a lot of stuff, things that are naturally out there, things that people do, whether it's music or art. Those are two of my very favorites out there. But just being open to it and being okay with the fact that it's transient and it'll go away, and the way the light is flickering on a particular beat up wall at one point. I mean, I noted that last night when I was walking. That's not happening again. That's okay. I mean, and I think being okay with it being there and being okay with it not being there is essential. I've been reading the Diamond Sutra, which is really confusing me, so thank you for that.
No, it isn't.
Considering everything that's been going on in the world lately and in our country, sometimes it feels really hard to find the joy in everyday life, especially when we're seeing all those things all the time on the news and social media. But as someone said when they were thinking about their joyful moment, that the joy was all that could be there. I feel like when I really focus on the joy enough, then I can focus on it enough to drown out all the other noise out there that might be causing me some distress, and to accept that I'm where I am and I can't always solve everything else for other people, and knowing that I'm responsible for my joy, and that thinking about the things that are distressing too much are destroying the joy.
Simone over here.
Good morning. My ego gets in the way of accessing joy. It's thanks to the teachings of Zen Buddhism, I've discovered that joy is readily always available to us at any time, all day, all night. But for myself, I am that door that blocks the joy from entering my life. The minute that my ego gets in the way, or if I'm trying to control a situation or an outcome, I no longer can focus on the joy, and now it's like focusing on sandpaper, and joy has a very healing quality. When, just like a second ago, your exercise, I just thought we got 2 little new ducklings at the house, so they go swimming on our bathtub every morning, and just, seeing that in my mind just makes me happy. The way they bob their heads up and down and swim around, and they're so excited to be in that little bathtub. It brought a smile, and that reminded me that it's always there. It's constantly present, but I am the lens that decides whether or not it wants to see it and access that healing power. Thank you.
Again, my teacher told me, he said, when joy is projected here, it's reflected everywhere out there. And I see joy in all beings. I'm talking about, as the young lady said, every gust of wind, every flake of snow, every drop of rain has meaning and purpose to it. And I can find joy in that. As I was speaking about my small grandkids, when I take them to the play field, all you hear is joy and laughter. And what they're telling me is, say, Granddad, this is where you originated from. So I learned to return back to that. That joy is projected from the inside to the outside. And every morning, I hate to rain on anybody's parade, but I wake up with pure joy in my heart. I'm glad to be alive and to be of service to others. And I'm glad to come here every Sunday, because every Sunday I hear my teacher's voice, and it resonates very clearly in my heart. Thank you.
Oops. Let's go over here first and then back.
Thank you. So I get plenty of joy at home. You know, I have a 14-month-old, and you know, that's easy when she gives some affection and just blocks everything out. But I find that there are, you know, if there are people or events that I build a certain narrative about, like work, a meeting, a boss, even bath time with the toddler. Things I've already built up in my mind that are going to be a little bit miserable. It's hard to break out of that, although I know it is possible. I know, you know, with some space and breathing some joy or gratitude, it is possible, but it's just so extremely difficult.
Okay, I think one last comment here, and then shift gears a little.
I know I already spoke, so I'll be quick. When someone was talking about ego blocking our joy, it reminded me of the way that some teenagers are very, and I mean, everybody's worried about what other people think sometimes, but that reminded me of that specific time where many teenagers are afraid to show certain emotions or certain excitement because they're worried it's not cool. I was at the Renaissance Fair yesterday, and I was hooting and hollering at the shows that were going on, and I realized younger me might not have done that because she might have thought it was embarrassing to be excited. So I think relinquishing the care of the perception of others towards ourselves is a huge opening of ourselves to joy.
So now let's begin. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
This morning, before I came over here, I went in one of our rooms, and there was a milk box, like a plastic milk box, red, and the sun was shining on it. And I said, "Oh, wow, you're so beautiful." And it just, in that moment, with this light on it and just a plain old milk box. Very joyful for me.
So let's now begin to connect this to specifically a Buddhist context. So in Buddhism, we have the Four Noble Truths. Those are all about suffering, right? But if we look at into Buddhist teachings, joy also comes up a lot. It somehow doesn't get as much airtime. And I sort of keep notes from my old Dharma talks, and I noticed that this came up as a Dharma talk in 2018, in 2021, 2023, and 2025. And I said, that's interesting. Do I just not have any joy between those in those 3-year periods? I don't know. But it is, we every morning at breakfast read a page from the Dhammapada. And every time, it takes us about 2 years to go through the Dhammapada. So we come back to joy every 2 years. And so I wanted to share some of what we've been reading about joy, and then also connect this to a few other key Buddhist practices and ideas. So this chapter begins, live in joy, in love, even among those who hate. Live in joy and health, even among the afflicted. Live in joy, in peace, even among the troubled. Live in joy without possessions, like the Shining One. And so if we think about the importance of joy in our Buddhist practice, it has sort of a stabilizing, balancing kind of quality. And especially in times that seem very chaotic and troubled, which I would say it feels like that's where we're at right now. It's important to be able to tap into, to access joy, to cultivate it, because it is a method by which we remain stable, focused on Buddhist practice, accessible to others, sort of not narrowed down and cut off. And then the Dhammapada goes on to offer some specific examples about how to work with joy, some specific advice about when and how to cultivate it. So the winner sows hatred because the loser suffers. So think about that. Winners and losers. So when we're into this winning and losing mindset, suffering arises, and that sows hatred. Let go of winning and losing and find joy. There's no fire like passion, no crime like hatred, no sorrow like separation, no sickness like hunger, and no joy like the joy of freedom. So the path we're on, the path toward freedom, is a path of joy. And it helps us leave behind sort of the three poisons: greed, anger, delusion, passion, hatred, separation. Health, contentment, and trust are your greatest possessions, and freedom your greatest joy. Look within, be still. Free from fear and attachment, know the sweet joy of the way. So look within, be still. Sort of all about meditation practice. Gives us this opportunity in and of itself to be still and to cultivate joy. How joyful it is to look upon the awakened and to keep company with the wise. So here we are, we're keeping company with the wise. Isn't it wonderful that we found each other as a Sangha? And it sounds from your stories like all of you have other wise people in your lives. So follow then the shining ones, the wise, the awakened, the loving. For they know how to work and forbear. Follow them as the moon follows the path of the stars. So this Dhammapada reading, the Dhammapada is a collection of sayings of the Buddha. These verses were not all uttered at the same place and time, but collectively over time they represent a theme, and that's how they get packaged together in the Dhammapada. A couple of other Buddhist concepts are this quality of joy. It comes up as a factor in awakening. It's called pita when it is in that context. And so as we're working with our meditation practice and deepening it, this joy, almost a state of bliss, can arise. And that can be very motivating and sustaining for our practice. Another context is It is one of the 4 Brahma Viharas. Is anybody familiar with Brahma Viharas? Okay, some of us are. So these are 4 divine abodes, or you can think of it as 4 aspects of love that we can continue to nurture in our lives and share with others. So the 4 of these are, the first one is loving kindness. The second one is compassion. The third is this joy. And then the 4th is equanimity. And in the context of the 4 Viharas, joy takes on the context of sympathetic joy, which highlights sharing of the joy with others, sharing in others. You know, at the beginning of this conversation, we said that is one thing that really, it's really important because it's a gift that we can give to others, and it's a gift that others can give to us, and it deepens our interconnections to each other. So I'm sure if you delved into this, you would find lots and lots of teachings about joy and happiness. I would encourage you maybe to explore a few and not wait 2 years for the topic to come up again in the Dhammapada, but incorporate it into your everyday life. I'm going to just pause now and see if there's any sort of final comments that people want to make before we send you out into the world to do your joy practice.
One thing about joy and other emotions is that it takes some skill to make a transition between one emotion and another. Mm-hmm. And some people can't get that that transition. People who are always unhappy. I know a couple of, one of my daughters is in that position. A person who used to live in the Buddhist, well, she didn't live here, but she came to the Buddhist temple after trying to commit suicide once and was recovering and finally killed herself. But people get stuck in emotions, whether it's anger or it's confusion. And that skill of being able to change from one emotion to another is really very important.
Yeah, thank you. So our Buddhist practice is all about letting go of the unwholesome and cultivating the wholesome. It's this dichotomy, this balance that we're always trying to achieve. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. Mm-hmm. In the back of the room. Pamayak. Yeah. Oh.
Good morning. It's always surprising to me. I get up in the morning and I feel I've lived a really good life and things have gone my way so often that it's curious to me how I don't get up in the morning jumping for joy and, oh, this is going to be just another great day. I get up really very neutral. And I'm finally in my 80s realizing, it's up to me to make this great day. I have to engage with it. yeah, there's a lot of shit I got to go through, but I can take it as a pile of shit, or I can turn it into a honeypot. I don't know.
I think sometimes it's easy to feel like it's selfish to be joyful when there's so much hatred and suffering going on. But I think it's important to remember that if we're loudly joyful and loving of ourselves and others, then other people will see that and realize that they don't have to live in hatred, that they can love themselves and others as well. And I think that can be revolutionary.
Yeah, and as you were speaking right now, what came to mind is this image of the Dalai Lama and Desmond Tutu. When they get together, you know, it's just this wonderful expression of joy. And both of them come from very traumatic circumstances. And so indeed, it's important. We then realize we can let go of the hatred, yeah.
In response to what my friend was talking about emotions, my teacher told me, he said all emotions come from our sixth sense perception and our sixth sense consciousness. He said when emotions come in, logic goes out. We lose our clear mind. So he said stay aware of your emotions. They only come through your senses, positive, negative, or neutral. And I was able to rise above my emotions and see and accept things just as they are. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
As Ma'um has said, can't you try to be normal? Whatever I say, it's non sequitur. It's not going to fit in, but I'm going to be who I am. I have been feeling and expressing that if I would just do more work with Ullambana, I would be free of a lot of things that are useless. One Ullambana I attended, I was trying to commemorate my father, and I had no idea on that day my sister was already gone. She had taken her life. I only heard 3 months later. But somehow or other, reading some information about the Buddhist activity of coming above obstacles, and I just had the most phantasmagorical dream that I was able, my mother's already deceased, but I was able to confront her with, I witnessed her abusing her own mother when her own mother was in a nursing home when I was quite young. She was forcing my grandmother to wear her hair the way she didn't want to, then attributing it to the hairdresser. The grandmother was suffering from a bladder infection and bent over in her wheelchair. And then finally, when she died, my mother expostulated. She willed herself to die. She willed herself to die. In the dream, I was hugging my mother and confronting her about this, which I could never talk to her about these things when she was living. And in the dream, she became my grandmother. She was sort of a much larger person. And it was just a euphoric dream. It made up for not being able to express myself in both Ullambana or like this message to my mother. What I shared with my mother was very releasing. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So we're reminded that joy is a choice and a skill, and we can continue to cultivate and access it. So let's conclude with the 4 great vows, and then we'll have some announcements. all beings one body.
All beings one body.
I vow to liberate.
I vow to liberate.
Blind passions one root.
Blind passions one root.
I vow to terminate.
I vow to terminate.
Dharma gates one mind.
Dharma gates one mind.
I vow to penetrate.
I vow to penetrate.
The great way of Buddha.
The great way of Buddha.
I vow to realize.
I vow to realize.
Announcements.
Okay. I've got a deal for you guys. I've got a whole list of activities for the temple for the season of fall. And I could imagine that maybe one of you would have another one similar to it you would like to trade because it has too many.
So why don't you get the greeter announcements that are out?
Sorry, I'm trying to explain some I took them.
Oh. Got it.
So, anyone notice that they have like a two-sided sheet full of announcements over here? Ooh.
Mm.
Oh, yeah, I'll trade you. Okay. So, well, I'll start with the announcements that we have here. Okay. So, yeah, I just want to check who's here for the first time. I'm pretty sure I saw all of you, but take a look around. I mean, lots of new people, and you're welcome. And everyone, glad to see you. We've got kind of a regular fall coming up. You know, our schedule is taking shape very well. Let me see. I'll go right into some of the details. Public services, which you know are offered every Sunday at 10 a.m. And families are especially welcome on the second Sunday of every month. Then that is when we have a Dharma talk geared for children. And the next one is actually, the 12th, so in about 2 weeks? Mm-hmm. Okay. And also on Saturdays, we've got Together Action, which you may probably know about. It's like kind of coming together as a group, as a Sangha, to work our miracles around the temple, I guess. You know, gardening, lots of things. And that's 3 to 5 on Saturday. It's considered hands-on work, and as that, it's a vital aspect of Buddhist practice. And as we care for the temple, we care for ourselves. Yoga's back to the temple now with David Black. We meet every Tuesday, 6:30 to 8 p.m. Right here in this room. Looking ahead to October, we'll be hosting a special speaker. His name is Ben Connolly. That's on Wednesday, October 8th, so coming up soon. Here at the temple, probably, is it in the Sangha house?
It will be in this room.
Oh, in this room, okay.
It will also be live streamed. There is a flyer that you can take with you.
Oh, right, out there on the tables, and including other sign-up sheets, maybe some other flyers like one of these.
What's his topic?
Oh.
It is based on his new book, which is on Huayun Buddhism, but he makes it relevant to everyday life, and I can't remember specifically how he frames it, but it's like interdependence, abundance. These are some of the words that he uses. Sounds very interesting.
Yeah, I was going to say it looks like abundance is kind of in a social engagement context. And then also the Flower Garland Sutra, which many of you have probably heard of. So that's Wednesday, October 8th, here 7 to 8:30. And in the spirit of leaping like a tiger while sitting, we are pleased to offer a 4-day fall retreat at the Ann Arbor Zen Buddhist Temple, here, ours, October 9th through Sunday the 12th. So that's like less than 2 weeks. It's coming up. Youngmeng Junction offers late morning, late morning, and evening meditation with mindful walking, eating, resting, and simple manual work, also a part of the schedule. There will be a daily Dharma talk that will be live streamed for remote participants. Part-time attendance is available on request, although we ask that you spend a minimum of 2 nights at the temple. And you may sign up for this retreat in the foyer. Another Lotus Sutra study group with Tijong Cliff Brown begins Tuesday, October 14th. The group will meet from 7 to 8:15 p.m., both in person and on Zoom. In each gathering, we will be reading through the Lotus Sutra and have the opportunity to share and discuss. Please sign up on the clipboard in the foyer. Another one of the clipboards. The temple currently has vacancies in the residential visitors program. Visitors program is for people who want to spend some time living in a Buddhist community. They follow the daily schedule and participate in programs such as retreats, study groups, public services, and yoga classes as their schedules permit. One can seriously pursue one's spiritual path or simply seek peace and harmony in a wholesome environment. Please talk to one of our teachers, of those known as people in the gray robes, if you have interest in learning more. But I guess I would say on this one, especially our teachers, as they live here, most of them. The temple has a new Sangha Care Committee. In the spirit of compassion and interconnection, our temple is here to support you and your loved ones during times of need. Whether it's a warm meal, a hospital visit, or a caring phone call, or checking in on a pet, our Sangha can offer a helping hand. To request support, please email me at on here, jackiedilly@gmail.com.
So Jackie's back there. Yep.
Yay.
If anybody would like to hear more, just I'll be here after the service. Just come up and talk to me, and I can give you my email.
Thank you. Also, the temple holds online Sangha services every Sunday night from 7 to 8:30. The service joins with practitioners from our temples in Toronto, Ann Arbor, and New York, as well as those living at a distance. The Zoom link's located on our website, zenbuddhisttemple.org. And also, the temple's entirely supported by your generous donations. And there's a fishbowl in the foyer for monetary donations, as well as an electronic credit card device. And I'm just going to say one more time, Together Action. Actually, I'll say it 2 more times. We have Together Action Saturdays, 3 to 5, but we also have one directly soon after the service, I believe today.
Mm-hmm. So.
Yeah. Oh, Samgui.
Yes.
You're gonna.
Meeting outside.
At what time?
Right outside of the back of the yellow historic temple where the parking is.
At what?
So you go out and meet there.
At what time?
15 minutes after tea.
Mm-hmm.
So within 15 minutes of the end of practice. So.
Okay.
Yeah, and for 15, 20 minutes we meet and do small tasks that we need help with. So thank you.
Thank you.
And also.
And Ilson or Iljan?
Iljan.
I forgot. Governor Dharma will meet in the historic Buddha Hall, the big yellow building next door, from noon to 1 today in the library. I remember.
Right.
Okay.
Thank you. So please join us for tea after we close here. Let's all stand. We'll straighten our mats and cushions and do 3 formal bows together. we conclude our formal bows, I'd ask for your assistance in picking up the outside rows of mats and cushions so that we are prepared then for our upcoming year. So the mats and cushions that touch the carpet remain. Everything else on this side of the room, it goes on the stage. On this side of the room, it goes in the back